G'day guys and gal. Just like getting jabbed with a drug-filled syringe in a Berlin nightclub, the Loyalist Primarchs were incredibly shocked and dismayed when they faced the reality that their brother, Horus, had decided to jihad the Imperium, seeking to destroy their work and sell humanity's souls to the forces of hell. It was very jarring, with each Loyalist Primarch having a different reaction. Some were in denial, some lashed out in blind rage, others took it on the chin and stoically swore to put Horus's bald head 10 feet underground. The only real thing that the reactions had in common is that they were all very, very negative. But before we get into that, goal setting is very important, and my goal for this year is to get to 420,000 subscribers. The reasons are obvious, I'm extremely childish. To do this, we gotta hustle. So if you've been watching me, cracking a smile at my tomfoolery or learn anything new during this video, then consider subscribing. It's free, easy, and it validates my fragile ego. Also, the cosplay calendars have officially ceased sale, so if you didn't grab one in time, then that's unfortunate. The good news is that I'm still uploading the unused raw shots to Patreon, and in a show of goodwill and thanks for the support you guys and gal give me, support that lets me talk about Warhammer lore for a living, the shots I just uploaded are available to everyone on my Patreon, including the $1 tier. So if you want to see that, then it's literally the cost of a quarter of a coffee. Today we'll go over each Loyalist Primarch's reaction to the outbreak of the Horus Heresy, talking about their reaction when they first heard of it, followed by their reaction when they accepted the truth of it. Oh, let's get into it. We will start off with the Lion, as his is the first legion and also the Lion is daddy. The Lion is known for two things. Firstly, he's stoic, calm, and commanding presence. He rarely loses his temper, and when he does, it makes Angron look like a teddy bear. Secondly, he is known to have borderline autistic tier social skills when it comes to reading and trusting people, leading to a few key mistakes on his behalf during the heresy. When the Lion heard of the heresy, he just took it in his stride. He wasn't stoked about it, but Horus had never been his closest brother, and he secretly believed that he should have been War Master instead of him. As such, the Lion actually saw the heresy as an opportunity. He believed that Horus could be crushed quickly and easily, leaving a vacant spot for War Master that the Lion could fill. This ambition fucked the Lion pretty hard, as he took over a traitor world and captured a bunch of super weapons they had. He then gave those weapons to Perturabo, believing Perty to be loyalist, in return for Perty supporting his claim to War Master. Yeah, needless to say, those super weapons ended up doing the loyalists a lot of harm. Lion the Spurg Brain Johnson. So overall, the Lion accepted the heresy pretty quickly, saw it as an opportunity, and then fumbled the bag pretty hard. Jagadai is next and actually had the most calm and common sense reaction to it. Instead of denying the heresy like some of his brothers did, or losing their fucking marbles like others, he was like, interesting. Let me just fact check that quickly and get back to you. See, Jagadai didn't discover the heresy via getting attacked or witnessing some cook shit, he just got a bunch of conflicting emails. Horus said the Emperor was a shit dad and was gonna murk all the Primarchs. Dawn said that Horus's male pattern boldness had finally caught up with him, and now he's a massive asshole. Jagadai decided to investigate, and in the meantime pulled a bit of a Switzerland. He went to Prospero, where he heard that Russ had attacked Magnus. On Prospero, he spoke with a shard of Magnus that gave him some insight. Then Mortarion came and gave him more insight before the two brothers fought. Then finally, those loyal to Horus in his own legion tried to stage a coup, which the Khan violently put down. The Alpha Legion had also antagonized the White Scars, which may have been a Megan attempting to push Jagadai towards the Loyalists. So after collecting the facts and seeing that the traitor's cause was full of creepy voodoo bullshit as well as copious amounts of assholes, he went with the Loyalists. His reaction and follow-up actions were well thought out, calculating and almost devoid of emotion. I'm sure he was cut by Horus's betrayal, but he wasn't shocked. He wasn't naive about the potential for conflict when you put 19 demigod egomaniacs in the same galaxy, and give them a fuckload of weapons and toys each. Stuff like this is why Jagadai is a very underrated Primarch. You'd think Russ's reaction would be one of total barbaric rage, but it was actually a lot more tragic. See, Russ had become an unwitting pawn of Horus, of chaos, in the opening phase of the heresy, and this hurt him deeply. When he went to go grab Magnus and bring him back to Terra, Horus was able to convince him that he should instead kill Magnus. Hence, as a result of this urging by Horus, as well as Magnus being a bit of a dumbass as well, the two legions fought, resulting in Magnus going from one of the most staunch loyalists to an ally of the traitor legions. When Russ discovered he had been played and had also caused obscene damage to the Imperium and his father, he fell into a deep depression. He held Horus in such high regard, and then his world had just been turned upside down. After he overcame his little depresso espresso episode with the help of Bjorn the Fell-Handed, his next emotion was icy rage, swearing direct vengeance on Horus. He almost got it, leading a suicide attack on Horus and stabbing him with a holy spear. However, his icy rage was once again a bad call. He should have just gone to Terra to help defend it. Instead, he stabbed Horus, got injured and had to retreat, with Horus just kind of shaking off the wound and proceeding to Terra. So overall, Russ was initially regretful and depressed before then getting filled with grim, icy rage. Dawn's reaction showed off why the Black Templars are descended from him. Dawn was a lot of things, most of them positive. However, he was also a bit naive. To him, the universe made sense. Do your duty, serve the Emperor, don't ask questions, and one day there would be peace, where mankind would be free to build sandcastles and shit. He didn't understand that there were spastics out there that didn't want to build sandcastles. So when Nathaniel Garrow, battle captain of the Death Guard, escaped Isfahan, went through hell and back and nearly died like 10 times before finally reaching Dawn and telling him of Horus's betrayal, Dawn was in total denial and actually beat the shit out of Garrow. He then announced that Garrow was to be instantly executed by his own hand for slandering his brother Primarchs, as Dawn thought it was impossible that Horus would even think about betraying the Emperor. Also, Garrow called Dawn a retard, which was pretty ballsy by him but didn't go down so well. Before Dawn could cut off Garrow's head, a human remembrancer barged into the meeting and was able to prove Garrow's story by using an augmetic recorder in her brain to replay some of the key events of Horus's betrayal that she had witnessed. Due to the nature of the augmetic, the footage was impossible to fake, so Dawn finally accepted the truth. He then spent 3 days in isolation, raging really fucking hard and destroying his room. How very Black Templar of him, before emerging and preparing the Imperium for war. Once Dawn's hissy fit was over, he became the Loyalist's greatest asset and leader, but boy oh boy, he didn't take the news well. Imagine being Garrow. You've survived staging a mutiny, getting bombed by enemy ships, a risky warp jump, a Gellerfield failure, getting stranded in buttfuck nowhere before nuking your own warp drives to act like a beacon for rescue, all so that the dude you came to deliver your message to cuts your head off. Would have been the biggest L. Sanguinius and Horus were very close. They arguably had one of the closest bonds between Primarchs out of all of them. As such, Horus knew Sanguinius well enough to know that converting him to his cause wasn't going to happen, hence he sent him to Cygnus Prime to die. Cygnus Prime had become a demon world where Horus was hoping Sanguinius would meet his demise. When Sanguinius got there and was attacked, he still didn't believe Horus had set him up, and actually hit one of his captains, Nasir Amit, aka the dude who would go on to found the Flesh Tearers, the only chapter that had weaponized autism more than the Black Templars, for suggesting that Horus had betrayed them. After an intense war against the demons, in which the demons had taunted Sanguinius about Horus's betrayal multiple times, he eventually accepted it, but was full of despair and sadness that his closest brother would do this. It especially hurt that Horus had just sent him to his death. He didn't try to convert him or even face him in person. He was just like a cold afterthought. After he'd overcome his initial sadness, Sanguinius' resolve hardened to the grim new reality in a similar format to his other Loyalist Primarch brothers. Ferrus the Manus raged, like hard. He found out about the heresy when Fulgrim came to him and tried to convert him to the traitor's cause. Ferrus could see the truth of the betrayal within Fulgrim, so denial wasn't really an option. He just went straight to rage mode, and that rage continued all the way until Fulgrim cut his head off on Isfahan. To be honest, that rage actually continued after his death, when the Emperor summoned Ferrus's pissed off headless ghost during the war in the Webway. But yeah, literally just rage, rage, and more rage. The only interesting bit about it all was that although Ferrus was shitty at Horus, 95% of his rage was actually towards Fulgrim. All he wanted to do was kill Fulgrim. He barely even spoke of or thought of Horus. To him, it was the Horus Heresy. Guilliman is kinda in the same boat to Ferrus. His exposure to the heresy wasn't from emails or seeing shit, it was when Lorgar's fleet arrived at Ultramar, called Guilliman a little bitch, before then attacking his fleet and blowing Guilliman out into space. The helmetless Guilliman then ran around on the exterior of his ship, punching the shit out of terrified wordbearers before finally getting back on board. He didn't really believe that Horus had gone traitor despite Lorgar's taunts, so his initial rage was directed purely at Lorgar. When he discovered the truth of it, he struggled with a lot of negative emotions. Depression that the best of the Primarchs had turned his back on the Emperor, panic at what the betrayal meant, and anger at the entire situation. Unlike Ferrus, he didn't lose his head over it, and he channeled that rage into calculation and strategy. counterattacking Lorgar and Angron and almost wiping out both those legions. But yeah, you better believe the blue man was fucking infuriated with Lorgar. Vulcan was an interesting one. Despite being such a swell and loving guy, his intuition told him that there was something fundamentally wrong with Horus, well before Horus was a cockjockey for chaos. Because of this feeling, Vulcan actually refused to gift any of his hyper awesome gear to Horus. This was a bit of a big deal, as Vulcan was one of the few master craftsmen Primarchs alongside Ferrus and Perturabo, and he was more than happy to forge shit for all of his brother Primarchs. So when the heresy broke out, Vulcan wasn't particularly surprised or shocked, instead just kinda going, "Okay, no more hugs for you, motherfucker," in a very Samuel L. Jackson-esque tone. His legion was one of the three that led the vanguard against Horus, with Vulcan being extremely devastated when he was betrayed and most of his legion died. I mean, yeah, no fucking shit. Overall, he was angry and upset, but not as blindsided as some of the others were. And finally, Corvus Corax. Corvus was one of the very few Primarchs who genuinely disliked Horus prior to the heresy, as in the past, Horus had used the Raven Guard like a stealthy extension of his own legion, and during a war, had ordered the Raven Guard to commit to a near-suicidal attack on an enemy position, despite Corvus offering an alternative solution, a solution that was rejected. Many Raven Guard died, so after that campaign, Corvus swore to never fight alongside Horus again. Corvus actually punched Horus in the face once for stealing glory and credit from the Raven Guard's victories. In a similar vein to Vulcan, Corvus wasn't shocked at Horus's betrayal, seeing it as a confirmation for his disdain for Horus. He was, however, shocked when he got betrayed at Isfahan and lost 95% of his legion. Like Guilliman, he used this tragedy and betrayal to strengthen his resolve, becoming a massive thorn in Horus's side despite having very few soldiers left. So overall, we got the 5 stages of grief displayed throughout the Loyalist Primarchs. Dawn was denial, Ferrus was anger, Sanguinius was bargaining, Russ was depression, and the Lion was acceptance, although they all got to that part in the end. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where the next month of the cosplay calendar's unused shots are live for only $1. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more shit content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.